so much for your accepting for delivering our seminar at IETE.
Thank you very much, sir.
So much, sir. And as a series, we are conducting is a 59th webinar, and every Sunday we are conducting the webinars from the Hyderabad Center, and also we are conducting. Once we are took over the charge in the July 2020, we are conducting about 4 workshops and various events like virtual industrial visit, and also various IET important days like IET Foundation Day, Students Day, Teachers Day, like these various events also are conducted physically also. Now again, we switch over to the online mode, and of course now the things are settling down, and we may go again offline mode, and again we are celebrating next Independence Day celebrations physically, and also on that day I'm happy to inform you I'm honoring all the webinar speakers, which is a very long pending for since 1 year, because you are not getting any opportunity to meet all our speakers. We are inviting all our speakers. Sorry, sir, even outstation participants also can participate. Murali garu, Harijendra Singh also. Otherwise, we will hand over in various occasions at Bangalore. But once, if possible, you are very welcome to participate in our Hyderabad Independence Day celebrations, and also felicitations of all our webinar speakers since last 1 year. So all the mementos, everything we kept ready, but only we were waiting for the opportunity to distribute all the speakers. Our IIT Hyderabad Center, of course, you're all aware, the second largest center in the India, and we are having 65 centers, and we are having various infrastructures in our Hyderabad Center, which is situated in Usman University, and we are having the air-conditioned auditorium, about 300 capacity, and conference hall, exhibition hall, all the facilities are there. But due to pandemic situation, we are not effectively utilizing this infrastructure. Just recently only our auditorium bookings are started on, and 2 programs are happened. Today also a blind people program was there in our auditorium. So this is the way we are, at least we are coming to the normal situation. And now I request our Vice Chairman Gar Sitaram Garu, shall I proceed, sir?
Yes. Cheppandi chepta, sir. You want me to, or just word?
Yes, sir. And now I request our Sanjay Madam, EC member, and also Chairman Women Empowerment Committee, Sanjay Madam, to introduce our today's speaker, Dr. DVSS Subramaniam Garu.
Thank you, sir. Very good morning, all the respected members joined here. I take the privilege to introduce today's speaker, Dr. DVSS Subramaniam Garu. Dr. DVSS Subramaniam sir has 18 plus years of experience in academics and industry, and worked as a part-time faculty at JNTUH for MTech PT PG program. Also worked as part-time faculty at BITS Hyderabad campus for MTech Quality Control program, and guided many BTech and MTech students. He has experience in computer science, mathematics, and statistics as well. Authored many international and national journals, and participated in many workshops, conducted many faculty development programs and guest lectures. And sir has done 2 PhDs, one PhD in software engineering and another PhD in computer networks. Also obtained degrees in industrial mathematics and mathematics, held positions as HOD, Dean, Director, and Principal. IT recruiter for 2 software companies, and also guided many projects for IIIT Bangalore and LJMU University, combined courses on artificial intelligence, data sciences, machine learning, and deep learning. So thank you, sir, for accepting the invitation. With this brief introduction, I'll hand over back to Secretary, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, madam. Really, this is again a change in our webinar topics. Mostly we are in the electronics area, and also we are various general topics we are having. Again, switch over to the the main boost topic, that is computer machine learning and AI. And this is one of the very hot topic. I hope still the members are joining, and they will get definitely it is a more interesting and taking the opportunity to take the advantage from the webinar. I request our speaker, Dr. DVS Subramaniam Garu, please take over the platform and start your webinar.
Thank you, sir. Namaste to all dignitaries. So I'm starting my. Wait, one more. Where is my PPT? Is my PPT visible to all, sir?
Sir,
Yes,
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'm starting with all your permission. Now, today's topic is efficiency of machine learning algorithms in solving complex problems. This is the main topic nowadays in almost all fields, irrespective of engineering branches, whether it is computer science, engineering, or whatever the branch it may be. Now, machine learning has been the breath of every engineering branch. Why these machine learning topics or machine learning concept has been the life of the engineering streams? Because the efficiency that the machine learning concepts are having. Not only machine learning, deep learning is also along with it. Broadly speaking, by combining machine learning and deep learning, the entire domain is called artificial intelligence. Now, broadly speaking, it is artificial intelligence domain, but looking into the artificial intelligence, there are two particular subdomains. One is machine learning, another one is deep learning. Now, just we are entering into the purpose and why these machine learnings have been that much strong effect on almost all domains. So for that purpose, here today's topic is efficiency of machine learning algorithms. Not only this one, so many faculty members just made SMSs to me. Sir, what is the difference between machine learning, data science, artificial intelligence, and deep learning like that? So today's topic, just we are going to start with first the basic points of this machine learning and deep learning. After that, here I am differentiating the topics of artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, and deep learning topics. Then I will enter into the efficiency of machine learning algorithms. Now today,
sir, please can you put it in slide mode, sir? Please.
no, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, what are the basic building blocks of machine learning? Here, one important point, just here we have to observe. Just look at within the brace, there is and deep learning. So the topic is that the basic building blocks of machine learning. Now, what is the purpose of using that and deep learning? Because machine learning has been a subset or subpart of deep learning. For that purpose, just I mentioned and deep learning. So this topic not only for this machine learning and also for deep learning too. Now, the first basic building block of machine learning topic is neural networks. Just we call them as artificial neural networks too. So before entering into machine learning, just we have to have our first look on neural networks. Just what type of neural networks did we have in previous era? Those are single layer feedback networks and multi-layer feed forward networks, recurrent networks, and back propagation networks. Here, single layer feed forward networks means there is only a set of two layers. First one is input layer and output layer, enough. No middle layer was existing in between them, but multiple feedback networks. So in addition to input layer and output layer, there will also be another layer between these two, one or two layers. So multiple feedback networks. That means Now, what the topic we are discussing, that is machine learning, had been its roots from neural networks. So this is the first grassroots of machine learning concept, that is neural networks. So from this only just we are able to entering into machine learning concept. Now, all these neural networks have been based on threshold functions. So one important point here, there are so many functions, threshold functions, signum function, sigmoidal function, and hyperbolic tangent function like that. So neural networks are being managed by these threshold functions. These threshold functions all are continuous functions. One important point. These continuous functions means they require continuous data. They require continuous data. So the first building block of machine learning is artificial neural networks. Artificial neural networks are controlled by threshold functions. Controlled by threshold functions. Now, the second building block, what we require is mathematics concept. Here, the mathematics concepts in the sense, not only all the required concepts of mathematics, but also the main focus will also be on set theory, including combinatorics, because the permutations and combination concepts we need, that are the basic building blocks of probability concept again. Next one, statistics and probability we need. In statistics, we need condition probability, Bayes theorem, probability distributions. That means binomial distribution, Poisson distribution, normal distribution, geometrical distribution, like that. All these probability distributions are needed. Now, some concepts of Boolean algebra. Boolean algebra has been the foundation of digital logic design or STLD topics. Especially in Boolean algebra, just we go through the logic gate compositions. Two important logic gates outputs are also included in the concepts of machine learning. These two are XOR gate and XNOR gate. These two are XOR gate and XNOR gate. These two are very much needed in decision-making trees. These topics not only used in probability distributions, but also used in decision-making trees, XOR gate. For example, there are only two inputs, A and B. A should happen at the same time, B should not happen. Or B should happen at the same time, A should not be happened. For that purpose, we use XOR gate. That means XOR gate of A and B is AB complement plus A complement B for that purpose. This is very much useful in decision-making trees also. The second one is XNOR gate. XNOR gate output is that out of the two inputs A and B, either both should happen or both should not happen. That means XNOR output is A complement A, B plus A complement, B complement. Either these two should happen or these two events should not happen. So these two are also included in the basic probability distributions concept. The next point is that regression analysis. This is the heart of entire machine learning, deep learning concept, data sciences also. The entire artificial intelligence concepts are morely based on regression analysis concepts. Very, very important concept. This one, regression analysis. It has been heart of statistics concept, because in regression analysis, we discuss so many topics: linear regression, quadratic regression, cubic regression, exponential regression, logarithmic regression, like that. Just look at the name itself is regression analysis. It has so many number of concepts which are very, very useful and more widely used in machine learning topics. One important point is that just look at, there is first the basic fundamental regression concept, that is linear regression. In linear regression, what the beauty it has is that without using any computer, without using any machine learning, deep learning concepts, by our own hand, by keeping our pen on paper, just we can predict the output of minimum 200 inputs are given to us. That is linear regression. So without going for any software, without going for any system required tools, directly with pen and paper, we will be able to solve any given problem, just inputs around 200, 220, 250 like that. It doesn't mean that can't we do the problems with inputs more than 250? Yes, we can do by using Excel sheet like that. But without using any tool, without taking help of any tool on our own, just we can predict the output of any given input data by using linear regression or quadratic regression like that. That much importance we do need in regression analysis. So nowadays, strictly speaking, machine learning and data sciences and deep learning concepts may not require any strong mathematical background. Anyone can directly enter into these domains according to the latest assumptions. But to become stronger in machine learning, deep learning concepts, that means to become stronger in artificial intelligence, really, if you want to work very strongly on the domains, we need to inculcate the fundamentals of all these concepts once. Then only it is better to enter into these domains, because machine learning concepts and the deep learning concepts, they have been formulated on the basis of these fundamental properties. So it is very required and very need for us to go through these topics at least once or two times. For that purpose, here the basic building blocks of machine learning and deep learning concepts are given here. Next one, theory of hypothesis. This theory of hypothesis has been testing the probability distribution of a given input concept. That is theory of hypothesis. Very, very important. Here, mostly we use normal distribution properties. So these properties, normal distribution, and applied statistical problems are very much needed for all these machine learning concepts. The next topic is correlation analysis. This is very, very important. And just like regression analysis, this topic too doesn't need any software help, doesn't need any tool. Directly, just we can calculate the correlation of any two different input data. That is the power. Regression analysis and correlation analysis, these domains have. Another important topic is that, just look at, after condition probability, Bayes' theorem is there. Bayes' theorem. Bayes' theorem is called reversed probability concept, reverse. Before having Bayes' theorem, there are so many probability concepts. Some concepts were made more complex. That means very difficult to understand. But once Bayes' theorem was introduced, most of the complex problems were removed. Almost all complex problems got solutions in their respective domains. That much powerful capacity Bayes' theorem does have. That's why Bayes' theorem, that is called reverse probability concepts. So this Bayes' theorem has been one of the important foundations of data mining in the previous, on which Gaussian, Naves, Bayes classification was introduced. Those topics are based on Bayes' theorem. Now, these Bayes' theorem concepts, along with the condition probability concepts, not only limited to a particular engineering domain, it is spreading its wings across the globe in almost all domains, irrespective of engineering branch, sciences, history, you take public administration concept, real life problems, engineering, everything. That much strongness the Bayes' theorem does have. That much influence it is having on almost all domains. Especially nowadays, the health domain have become the major challenging to scientists. Now, in those cases, the Bayes' theorem, along with condition probability and along with Naves-Bayes concept classification, now they are making so many complex problems to move towards a particular goal. that much importance all these topics are having. Now just look at the main topic is only machine learning and deep learning, but within this one, that means behind the screen, all these are the stronger basic roots of machine learning and deep learning. That means all these are the basic requirements that one student or faculty member needs to become stronger in artificial intelligence. One important point, the broad name is artificial intelligence, but artificial intelligence is split into two parts, two domains. One is machine learning and another one is deep learning. So no need to have any confusion among these three terms. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. So no need to have any confusion among these three words. Now the next topic, what most of the faculty members and the students just they sent SMSs to me, how to find or how to differentiate data science, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. So this is very good question and also needed, also very important one. The first thing, just look at now according to the recent trends with respect to bachelor degree programs in sciences, commerce, engineering, or whatever it may be, and masters and certificates program. So many programs are available in data sciences, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning like that. That means most of the academic community, they're getting that much confusion. What is this? How can we differentiate among these four domains? So first one, just look at all these are having their internal intersections. We cannot look at a particular domain as a separate one. That means we cannot differentiate or we cannot make any one domain independent of other domains. All are having their internal intersections. 30% to 40% topics are common to all these one. The remaining 55 to 60% topics, just we have to look into their particular domains. Now just look at, as previously said, machine learning, deep learning, both are the part of artificial intelligence. At the same time, machine learning is subset of deep learning. These two come under artificial intelligence. Now, what is the data science? Data science, just look at nowadays, data has become more powerful weapon to all companies. Data, huge amounts of data are needed to make very good business decisions. So once a big data is available, from that data, it is very easy to exploit unknown patterns. These patterns will be used to find or to make different predictions. Now, actually, why machine learning algorithms are needed? Making predictions are different. Making accurate predictions are different. Predictions means it may be 85 to 90% predictions may be true, but in the market nowadays, above 99% accuracy is needed by most of the companies in almost all domains. For example, especially in armed forces and defense forces, 99.99 accuracy is needed. In those cases, we used to use these machine learning and deep learning concepts by the name of artificial intelligence. Now, data science. Data science is used especially to predict data patterns. Predict data patterns. It is used to make predictions. So all these predictions are based on what? Huge input data. The name itself, it is related to only data. It is related to data. That from that data, it makes patterns. It makes classifications. According to different patterns of the data, according to that patterns, it will make appropriate predictions. The role of data scientists is that how to improve the accuracy of the predictions. For example, in the previous cases, the accuracy might be 98% like that, etc. 98.1, 98.2 like that. But the next step, data scientist, his goal will be to make the prediction up to 99.89, 92.9 like that. So in almost all cases, whether it is data sciences or artificial intelligence or machine learning or deep learning, their main goal or focus is to make very accurate predictions or make accurate decisions. So data science, the first one is data science. Mostly it is used in business decisions. Now, artificial intelligence. The main concept of artificial intelligence is wherever the complex problems are there in particular domains, in those cases, artificial intelligence will be introduced or is being introduced. That means wherever problems are not able to solve, problems are not able to reach a particular goal, in those cases, artificial intelligence will make the complex problems into easier problems and make them solved to reach a particular goal. That is artificial intelligence. Now, almost all domains of nowadays, they have been filled with the bread of artificial intelligence. That means where human scientists or humans, what it may be, which, for example, where they feel that some problems are very, very difficult to get solved, in those cases, artificial intelligence is the alternate solution to that one. That means what? Artificial intelligence concepts, they will make machines to learn some knowledge on the basis of human beings' knowledge. They will try to assign humans' intelligence to machines to work them as human beings in not all cases, in majority of the cases. So how human beings solve a particular problem, in that way, artificial intelligence helps machines to solve those problems in that mode. That is the main purpose of introducing artificial intelligence. But at every step, we have to have one important concept, is that artificial intelligence means it is a combination of both machine learning and deep learning. That important point just we have to keep in our mind. Please do not look artificial intelligence as a separate topic of machine learning and deep learning. Machine learning, deep learning, combining these two, we call it as artificial intelligence. Please make it a point. So now, basically speaking, artificial intelligence is a collection of mathematical algorithms. It is a collection of mathematical algorithms. For what purpose? To provide accurate decisions of a very high degree. That means what? To achieve a goal, how much a prediction we need? 100%. That means now artificial intelligence should be in a position to give 99.999999124 like that. That much accuracy should be given by artificial intelligence. That is the main whole and sole purpose of introducing artificial intelligence concepts in almost all fields, in financial, in business, in health, in public domain, banking sector, defense sector, everywhere, artificial intelligence has been the main breath of the domain of the society nowadays. So basically speaking, artificial intelligence is a collection of mathematical algorithms to provide accurate decisions. That means what? Basically, in the previous slides, what we discussed, the basic building blocks of artificial intelligence is neural networks, statistics, including probability concepts, mathematical concepts, and some concepts of Boolean algebra. All these concepts have been merged here by the name of artificial intelligence. That means individually looking, each topic itself is more powerful. Each topic itself is more powerful. Neural network is powerful. Mathematical domain is powerful. Statistics is powerful. Regression analysis powerful. Probability topic is powerful. Hypothesis topic is powerful. Bayes theorem is powerful. Different types of powerful topics are there. Now, combining all these topics in a single capsule, and we call it as artificial intelligence. Now we have to think that how much stronger it is now, because it is an amalgamation of all powerful concepts. That's why artificial intelligence has become more powerful weapon nowadays. Next, machine learning. Machine learning can be treated as a subset of deep learning, subset of deep learning. So that important point, just all should know this one. So as long as we discuss the topic of artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, please don't confuse among these three words. Combining machine learning and deep learning is called as artificial intelligence. Next point, machine learning is always a subset of deep learning. So where these two topics differ each other, that means almost all topics, all unsolved and complex topics are already solved by machine learning. So the aim of machine learning is to solve unsolved and complex problems. That is machine learning. Where is the role of deep learning? That means machine learning solves majority of the problems, but not all problems. That is important concept. Machine learning solves almost all concepts. Huge problems, huge number of problems it solved, but still there are some problems that cannot be solved by using machine learning. So where machine learning fails to solve complex problems, in those cases deep learning enters. This point is very much important. So where machine learning concepts are fail to solve a particular problem or problems, in those cases deep learning enters into the picture and solves those problems. Now just we can think of which domain is more powerful now. Deep learning is more powerful. That means machine learning is a subset of deep learning. That means whatever the problem can be solved by machine learning will also be solved by deep learning. But problems that are solved by deep learning may not be solved, or cannot solved by machine learning. That's why machine learning and deep learning concepts are that much powerful nowadays. Machine learning. So now the point. In the previous topic, what we discussed, artificial intelligence means we have to look into artificial intelligence, which is a combination of machine learning and deep learning. Now, here we have to give a clear-cut definition to artificial intelligence, whether it is machine learning or deep learning domain. These two are used to implement artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is making machines to learn on par with human beings. That's the concept of artificial intelligence. But that is a theoretical definition. But how that definition can be implemented or will be implemented, it will be implemented by using either machine learning or deep learning concepts. So artificial learning, to implement artificial learning, we need two weapons, two tools. One is machine learning, another one is deep learning. That is very important point among these three terms. So now, machine learning needs huge amounts of data. Machine learning needs huge amounts of data as its input. Okay. As long as we need data, it is related to data science. Look at this one. Whether it is machine learning or deep learning, whatever it may be, it needs huge amounts of input data. So a huge collection of data is needed. So as long as data is needed, that means that huge amounts of data has been part of data science. That means what? We cannot look into machine learning or data science and deep learning as separate one. All are having internal intersections. 25% to 30% are having common intersection domains. Please do not look among these four domains. Each one is having its internal intersection parts. That is important. So no one can say that a data scientist always deals with the data. The data scientist cannot be with machine learning or deep learning or artificial intelligence is wrong. A data scientist's work may be related to data, but to make very good, accurate predictions, that data scientist must know the concepts of machine learning. Not all concepts of machine learning, but few concepts at least the data scientist should know. That means in this case, machine learning has been a subset of data scientist. Now we come to machine learning domain. To implement artificial intelligence, machine learning scientists needs huge amounts of data. Huge amounts of data means what? Data science. So in this domain, data science has been a subset of machine learning. Data science is subset of machine learning means data science is also a subset of deep learning concepts. So now, the moment we are learning about machine learning, please do not confuse with data science and deep learning. These data science concepts are subset of machine learning, and machine learning concepts are subset of deep learning. So among all these, deep learning is a superset of these three concepts. So next one. So machine learning methods, how they can be implemented? Just by using supervised, unsupervised, semi-supervised, and reinforcement methods. We will be discussing about these four in the next coming slides. But one important point is that, again, I am repeating that important point, artificial intelligence is implemented by using machine learning or deep learning. As long as we have been in deep learning, data science will be a subset of machine learning. Or as long as we are in deep learning, data science as well as machine learning, both are subsets of deep learning. So no need to get any confusion among these three words. Now, actually, all the machine learning algorithms are classified as regression models and classification models. What are the differences between regression models and classification problems or models? Means classification models, they do not have any particular goal, only classification clusters. That means a group of homogeneous elements, a cluster of students, a cluster of faculty members, cluster of male students, cluster of female students, cluster of citizens above 60 years, cluster of citizens less than 40 years, like that. All these problems, we call them as classification problems. So one important point we have to understand that classification problems do not have any particular goal. Their goal is only to divide the entire data set into some finite number of homogeneous elements of subsets. Those are called classification models. For example, in a college, students belonging to CSE, it is a cluster of CSE. Students belonging to ECE, it is a cluster of ECE student. All these are classification models. Now, what are regression models? Regression models are meant for solving a particular goal. So regression models are always just like an arrow. Its aim is to solve a particular goal. Those are called regression models. Regression models. For example, at present, the date 8th August 2021, what is the rate of bullion market, gold rate in the market? What will be the rate of gold by the same date by the next year 2022? Regression model. Regression model is needed. Now by this time, the total number of corona cases, this much number. In the previous last year, by this time, this much number. So what type of relation can you make between these two? Regression model. Regression model. So all machine learning algorithms, they are classified basically into regression models and classification models. These two are very, very important topics. So now, so that's why machine learning. So before solving any problem, any machine algorithm, just look into whether the given problem does belong to regression type or classification type. Then only the remaining machine learning algorithms work will be depended upon. That is very, very important. Now, one important point here, whether it is, suppose, there are only purely machine learning scientists are there or deep learning scientists are there. So deep learning scientists are superset of machine learning scientists. But whoever it may be, for their predictions, for their regression models, these two scientists need huge amounts of data. Whatever the data that is given to machine learning or deep learning scientists, those scientists take the data. But one important drawback of machine learning, deep learning scientists is that they do not know about the data. They are not particular about the data. Whatever the data that is given to machine learning scientists or deep learning scientists, they will take the data as the final data. But really speaking, all the data may not be correct data. Some data may be corrupted. Some data may be repeated. Some data flaws may be in the data. So regarding all these irregularities in the data sets, these machine learning, deep learning scientists are not aware of that. So if exactly particular data is given, the output prediction will be more accurate. If there are flaws in the given data, we cannot achieve the accurate prediction. That means now one important point we have to understand, whether it is machine learning scientists or data learning scientists, they must depend upon data scientists. So whether you do projects on machine learning or projects on deep learning, whatever it may be, they must have the assistance of data scientists, because data scientist must collect the data and adjust the data, analyze the data. And by using pruning techniques and data cleaning, everything, data redundancy, everything, data scientist will provide accurate, exact data to the ML scientist or deep learning scientist. Then only these scientists will be able to make functionalities on that input data, and they will make correct regression model. So now I think the relation among data scientists, machine learning scientists, and deep learning scientists is clearly understood to all. So here, the role of data scientist, the role of machine learning scientist, the role of deep learning scientist cannot be looked separately. They cannot be treated as independent domains. Somewhere, every scientist is supposed to depend upon the other one. These three are having internal connectivities among all these things. That's why a data scientist cannot say, I am purely 100% data scientist, no need to depend upon artificial intelligence scientists. Wrong. Similarly, artificial intelligence scientists. So here I am using only one word, artificial intelligence. That means both ML and DL scientists together. So artificial intelligence scientists cannot say that no need to depend upon data science scientists. That is wrong. Everyone should depend upon another. That is the interconnectivity among these three domains. That point just faculty, that students and they must understand. Next one. But nowadays, AICTE is also implementing some unexpected things. So recently they introduced one concept. Students who need to enter into engineering branches, they no need to study mathematics and physics topics like that. So because they want to make almost all students' domain to learn about the recent technological topics. That is their main motto. We are welcoming that motto also. So according to that one, just one important point we have to observe regarding the programming languages in the computer science and computer science engineering domains. So previously there was C programming language. That means a structured programming language concept. After few years, object-oriented programming languages have been entered into the market. Then they rule the market. Now, dominating all these things, machine learning, artificial intelligence enter into the market by the name of Python. That is very important concept. Day by day, year by year, or decade by decade, the advancement in the programming languages makes more and more advanced topics are inculcating into the programming languages into themselves. So previously C programming language, structured programming language. So even though for solving very simpler program, one programmer has to follow the all structural basis of the C programming language. But the same programmer, if the programmer wishes to solve the same problem in object-oriented programming like Java, that programmer could find some easiness in Java over C. Betterment or advancement, easiness in solving the problem. Now, Python. Why Python has become more popular among programming community, computer science community? Because it doesn't need any sequential syntax formalities. It doesn't need any traditions. It is very easy language to learn, Python. Why the name Python has been given to the programming language. Now we'll be discussing in the next slides also. So for that moment, here one important point here we have to mention is that machine learning libraries such as ScienceKit, scikit-learn facilities users in such a way that even an app developer without any background in mathematics or statistics or even in formal education can start using libraries to build, train, test, deploy, and use ML models in the real world. Just look at this is just we are about to astonishing about this sentence. That means to develop, to make app development, particular persons do not require any background either in mathematics or statistics or even in formal artificial intelligence education. Anyone can start developing apps by using these machine learning libraries. Now just look at how machine learning libraries have become more easier to users to make so many number of applications, even for creating apps. They do not require any formal background of mathematics or statistics or neural networks, etc., etc. Without having any background, they are allowed. They are allowed in the sense they can make their own projects, applications on artificial intelligence by using Python language. That is the beautiful, in one side, that is the more welcoming nature of Python. That's why it has become a more popular language nowadays. Now it is pushing all other languages back to its level. Python, the market is in terms of Python nowadays. Now, here one important point, we have to understand that nowadays, these data science, artificial intelligence, including deep learning and machine learning, have been evolving to accommodate all these concepts. That means data science and artificial intelligence. A proper corresponding language is needed. Here that language is Python. The name itself is Python. We call Python just like Kondachilva in Telugu. Python. That means what? It catches huge amounts of data. It catches huge amounts of data. That's why based on that capacity of catching that much data, the name Python is given to that programming language. That means especially Python is used for machine learning, deep learning languages. Machine learning and deep learning languages. On par with Python, there is another programming language called R programming. That can also be used. The program can also be used, but R program is more suitable for data sciences. It doesn't mean that it is not suitable for artificial intelligence. Wrong. It is also suitable for artificial intelligence, but more suitable for data sciences. Why? Wherever there are more and more statistical approaches, wherever there are more statistical applications, in those domains, R programming deals well than Python. But in domains like artificial intelligence, such as machine learning and deep learning, here the programming language Python is more applicable to this machine learning concepts than that of our programming language. There is an important and particular differentiation between Python and R programming language with respect to the existing domains of the present scenario. That is very, very important. So these two programs, a program that is written in Python can also be written in R programming language. A program that is written in R programming language can also be written in Python. Both are allowed. But what is an appropriate position of these two languages means R programming language is more suitable for data sciences, big data analytics, and data scientists. Python is more suitable for artificial intelligence. That means Python is more suitable for machine learning concepts and deep learning concepts. Now, by introducing the programming language of Python, now users, even though they are not having good concepts in math, stat, neural networks, and AI education, but they will be able to deal with all these concepts by using Python programming language. That means Python provides that much different, huge number of libraries to users. No need to write code for each and every line. Not required. Whatever the help we need, it will automatically be available on the Python programming language the moment we type on that notepad. Everything is available. That much easiness. So Python makes programming language more easier than the previous programming languages. Once a programmer is habituated in Python, that no programmer wants to look at even at Java also. That much easiness it provides to us. So that's why Python is much popular. Persons without having any AI background can do projects on AI. So that's why AI has become more popular. It is one of the reasons. Nowadays, deep learning is dominating machine learning. So now the machine learning in the sense, most of the problems are solved by machine learning. Wherever machine learning fails to solve particular problems, in those domains, deep learning enters into the picture. Now, next one is deep learning. Just look at it. Is an advancement of machine learning concept because deep learning is a superset of machine learning. That is very important point. So deep learning requires, whether it is ML or DL, it requires huge amounts of data set. Huge amounts of data sets. Now, actually, deep learning is also for data sets that have many features and having more complex conditions. Just look at a data set may have not only 2 or 3 features, it may have 20, 30, 40 features. Now, among these 30, 40 features, which features are important, which features are not important? To make a particular decision among these is very difficult. At the same time, if we omit some 10 or 20 features, these omitted features may have an influence on the existing data. So we cannot omit them. In those cases, how to deal with those data types? In those cases, even machine learning also fails. So in these domains, instead of machine learning, deep learning works a lot. Deep learning works a lot, this one. So that means to solve more complex problems with very peculiar features, those type of problems need only deep learning concept. So deep learning has been a supremo of machine learning concepts. But to implement deep learning, we require more powerful hardware implementation. Now, one important point is that Python programming language is providing more powerful libraries. One of the more powerful libraries among all these is the TensorFlow, very important TensorFlow library. It is an open source artificial intelligence library that uses data flow graphs to build data models. So TensorFlow, the main concept of TensorFlow package library is not package, library is that it always builds data models, different types of data models on the available data. So not only data models, but also draws data flow graphs. So TensorFlow is more widely used in artificial intelligence to make or to get data models. It is also useful for data sciences too. One more important point. The main purpose of using TensorFlow in artificial intelligence is that it creates neural networks with more layers. At the beginning of this topic, one of the basic building blocks of artificial intelligence is that neural networks. So to know about neural networks, to know about single layered or multi-layered values or recurrent neural networks, all these different types of neural networks, they are built, that means created, and they are tested by using TensorFlow in Python. So to create large or huge neural network models, TensorFlow helps us easier way. It helps us in an easier way to solve them. That means however big the given neural network is, or however large the neural network that we will be dealing with, that is irrelevant. TensorFlow library provides highly sophisticated equipment software to create neural network, however large it may be, to create the network and to work the network and to test the network to deal a particular goal. That is the main important, most powerful weapon is Tensor. One of the most powerful weapons of Python libraries is TensorFlow. So its main aim is to create large neural networks. To create large neural networks, to test the networks, and to make work on the neural networks to achieve a particular goal. That is very important concept in Python. Nowadays, for example, just look at wherever you see these TensorFlow libraries are being used on Google, in Netflix, or virtual assistants like Alexa, Google Assistant like that. And also nowadays, everyone has been on social platforms. So many news are coming and going on these social platforms. Now, there are nowadays, fake news are also there. How to detect or differentiate fake news from the original news? It is very difficult. It is across the globe. In those cases, TensorFlow works at good level. That means just look at social platforms data. The data collection of platforms, data collection of social platforms is very huge and very difficult to collect that data. Now, even though however large it may be, that large data is also or can be captured by using Python, by using this TensorFlow library. That much importance it has. That's why just look at, that is one of the reasons why machine learning algorithms have become more stronger to solve complex problems nowadays. Very important. Now, not only TensorFlow, most of the libraries available in Python are more powerful. On par with the TensorFlow, that is Keras. Keras library is another type of library in Python. These two libraries are very much useful in not only in business decisions, in create neural networks, in taking financial frauds, and to eradicate fake news on social platforms, to make accurate predictions in defense systems everywhere. They are using not only TensorFlow, but also Keras packages in Python programming language. Now just look at now all these things, why machine learning algorithms have become more stronger or more efficient in solving complex problems. That means these are all using Python programming language. Python is having that much powerful libraries. Each powerful library works as a special programming language like that. So that much powerful tools Python does have. Now, artificial intelligence is being implemented by machine learning or deep learning by using Python. That's why all these mathematical algorithms have become that much stronger in solving more complex problems. So more than 90% of the complex problems will be solved by machine learning algorithms. If any problems are remaining that cannot be solved by ML, those problems will definitely be solved by using deep learning algorithms. For all these reasons, Python has been the backbone. Python has been the backbone means Python contains that much powerful libraries in it. Keras, TensorFlow, Scikit, everything more powerful libraries. Now, next topic is machine learning algorithms. There are many machine learning algorithms. Really speaking, the first thing, all these are reasons for having more efficiency in solving complex problems. That's why everything is related to machine learning nowadays. Even AICTE recommended introduction of new BTech courses in artificial intelligence and machine learning too. Even BSc machine learning, certificate courses, PG courses, everything is related to machine learning algorithms and artificial intelligence. Now, CBSE students at +1, +2 level are also having these concepts. Now, government is planning to introduce machine learning with the deep learning concepts at 8th, 9th, 10th levels also. So that means, what does it mean? Future belongs to machine learning, artificial intelligence, and deep learning concepts to make them. That means the government is planning to prepare each and everyone towards solving the goals of artificial intelligence with respect to machine learning and deep learning concepts. Now, broadly speaking, there are 3 types of machine learning algorithms, actually. However stronger it may be, but all the algorithms under the concept, under the umbrella of machine learning can be categorized the 3 parts. One is supervised, another one is unsupervised, second one is reinforced algorithms. The first one is called supervised learning. Supervised learning. That means what? Just like supervised learning is just like y equal to x plus 3. Let us assume y equal to x plus 3. X is independent variable, y is dependent variable. In that linear equation, if x equal to 10, what happens? Y will automatically become 10 plus 3 equal to 13. That means here y is a predictor. Y is a predictor. Understanding? Now, the training process continues until the model achieves a desired level. So, supervised learning algorithms, the main concept of supervised learning algorithms is to achieve a particular or desired goal, to target a particular goal, or to reach a goal with very high accuracy. For that purpose, all supervised learnings are used. So, really speaking, all machine learning algorithms, they are divided broadly into 3 categories. The first one is supervised learning. So, supervised learning always focuses on to reach a particular goal or a desired goal with very high accuracy rate. That is supervised learning. Examples are regression analysis. Regression analysis. y equal to ax plus b, where a and b are constants. X is independent variable, predictor. Y is dependent variable, target variable. The next one is, so one example of supervised learning, that is regression. Regression concept come under supervised learning. Next concept example is decision trees. Decision trees is one of the important concept of data structures in computer science. The name itself is decision tree. So basically it is a tree, not a binary tree, it is a tree. The tree is used for making decisions. So according to that one, according to the required decision parameters, the tree is split into subtrees like that. It also comes under the concept of supervised learning. So as long as we discuss the concept of supervised learning, we should know that it is aimed at solving a particular goal, Next one is random forest. This random forest is an advancement of regression and classification problems. That means it is a polished version of decision trees and regression trees. Next one, KNN problem. It is mostly used in data mining concepts. It is K nearest neighbors algorithm. It is mostly used in data mining nowadays because of the influence of artificial intelligence, data science, and deep learning, etc. Now, data mining will also become a part of that machine learning concepts. So previously, or still till this day, data mining has been a separate subject in computer science engineering. But because of the influence of data science, big data analytics, machine learning, data learning, deep learning, all these domains have made data mining to become a part of the entire day syllabus. Now, from next semester onwards, there may not be data mining syllabus, data mining course particularly. It has become, or it is restricted to only one unit in a particular data science or machine learning concepts. Next one, logistic regression. Logistic regression is the most powerful concept of all machine learning algorithms. Logistic regressions, very, very much important, logistic regressions. Nowadays, especially this pandemic scenario, most of the problems, most of the projects in machine learning or deep learning are being maintained by using logistic regression methodology. It is a more powerful machine learning algorithm. It is used for not only for the prediction purpose, but also for classification problems also. For example, such as diabetic predictions, cancer predictions, spam predictions, corona predictions, everything. Nowadays, 40% of the health-related domains, they are using logistic regression as their main tool in machine learning, deep learning concepts. Nowadays, next one, unsupervised learning. In the previous case, supervised learning means it has a particular goal. Opposite, unsupervised. It has no particular target value, but its main aim is for classification. That means it classifies, it divides a main set into subsets. So these concepts are mainly used in data mining. Now, those important concepts are a priori algorithm and K-means algorithm. Actually, the word a priori means what? In advance, tossing a coin, rolling a die. All these come under the probability theories or come under the concept of a priori algorithms. These a priori algorithm is mainly used in data mining. Now, from the next concept on next year onwards, all these will be as a part of machine learning and data learning only now. That means data mining is now losing its own movement of existence. Now, all these algorithms have become a part of machine learning and deep learning algorithms. So K-means is also clustering, the near clustering of the data sets. All these come under the concept of unsupervised learning. So one important point we have to remember is that The main classification of 3 machine learning algorithms are supervised. Supervised is only for reaching a particular target. Unsupervised is not for no target, but for classification purposes. Now, reinforced learning. Reinforced learning is for solving some specific problems, very specific problems. So wherever problems where they need more and more accuracy than other problems, in those accurate problems, reinforced learning is expected to implement. So reinforced learning methodologies is for only a particular set of problems. Problems which need more or very, very high accuracy in business predictions or defense predictions or health predictions, what it may be. Wherever high predictions are needed, in those domains, reinforced learning is implemented. Reinforced learning is implemented. Very, very important concept. Examples is Markov decision process. So Markov decision process, strictly speaking, is one of the random process in stochastic process in electronics also. Markov chain decisions, very, very powerful concepts and statistical applications in maths and stats. Now, next one. So the previously are 3 broad categories. Now, what are the commonly used machine learning algorithms? Actually, in addition to that one, the commonly used one is linear regression model. Linear regression, actually, it comes under the category of regression analysis. So under regression analysis, there is linear regression, quadratic regression, cubic regression, logarithmic regression, exponential regression, multivariable regression, like that. So among them, first we based on linear regression. So linear regression is for continuous values, linear regression. The next topic is logistic regression. What is the difference between linear regression and logistic regression? Logistic regression is only for giving or to estimate discrete values. That means whether decision is true or false. Can we allocate these funds to the particular domain or not? Like this, yes or no, true or false, 0 or 1. Only to estimate discrete values. In those cases only we use logistic regression. Nowadays, it has been more powerful algorithm in machine learning. Because, why? Because it uses a sigmoid function, S-shaped sigmoid function. The boundaries of sigmoid function is -1 to +1 only. Sigmoid function. That means the input values always takes between 0 and 1. It can be adjusted to 0 and 1 also. So the output value lies between 0 and 1 only. So however big the given input data is, irrespective of the size of the data, the sigmoid function always assigns the entire data input set into the values between 0 and 1. That is the main and wonderful working functionalities of logistic regression in regression analysis. Next, decision trees. So decision trees are basically trees. After giving tree structure to the decision by using root node and subnodes like this, the decisions reach at their leaves. So all leaves of the tree gives us decisions. So according to the requirement, the particular decision can be used. It is a part of trees, binary structures, binary data structures in data structures of computer science. The next one, supporting vector machines. This SVMs has been one of the topics in data mining, but now it has become a part of machine learning algorithms. So one important point, just look at really speaking, machine learning algorithms, deep learning algorithms are not a blue from the bolt. They are getting all powerful concepts from all domains. They are inculcating different types of powerful tools into them. That's they have become the more stronger. But deep learning, machine learning, not a unique concept. they do not have their own concepts. They're getting all the input powerful concepts from all the other domains. Combining all these domains by the support of Python, they have become more powerful. That point you have to learn here. Now, support vector missions. It is especially used for classification problems. So wherever regression analysis is there and wherever we do use classification problems, there we use support vector machines. Now, Gaussian naive Bayes classifier. This is very important, powerful concept. It is based on Bayes theorem in probability and statistics. So actually, this naive Bayes theorem or naive Bayes classifier, it is very useful for very large data sets, because in those large data sets, discrete concepts cannot be worked out there. So in those domains, they use continuous data sets. For that purpose, a Gaussian probability distribution is needed. So naive Bayes theorem, by the help of Bayes theorem and by the help of Gaussian distribution, it has become Gaussian naive Bayes classifier. So now this naive Bayes theorem is very useful for large data sets. Now just look at how stronger it is becoming. Now, k-nearest neighbor program. This k-nearest neighbor algorithm is also for machine learning. Once it was a concept of data mining, now it has become a part of machine learning concept. K-means is also just like the previous concept, nearest neighbors, but k-nearest neighbors are relating to points, data points, but k-means concept is related to data sets, homogeneous data sets. Next, random forest. It is also based on the concept of decision trees. All these come under the concept of data structures. Next one, dimensionality reduction algorithms. This is also nowadays very important concept, because, for example, just look at in C programming and the Java, etc. We used to do programs on 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional arrays. For example, multiplying 3x3 matrices or 4x4 matrices like that. But those are for the starting at entry-level problems. But in real life, there are so many problems that can have more than 1,000 dimensionalities or 2,000 dimensionalities like that, more dimensionalities. So in those dimensionalities, it is not possible to accommodate data in those dimensionalities. Data capturing is also be very difficult there. So wherever the data sets or the features are having more dimensionalities, so the main concept will be on reducing the number of dimensionalities is more important. So for that purpose, to make or to work out on the variables, before that one, the dimensionality of the problem should be reduced. Then only the working mechanism on the variables will be easier. So in those cases, dimensionality problems are more needed. So this is the gradient boosting algorithms. The word itself is boosting. Why the word boosting is introduced? Just look at a particular or any particular data set may have 20 features or 30 features, 40 features like that. But equal importance cannot be given to each and every feature of the data set, because some features may have more importance, some features may not have, some have at average level importance. In those cases, without neglecting or without discarding the useless features, they're also making the useless features into some useful features. That means the main purpose of boosting algorithm is to combine below average or weak predictors into a single one and making these features into a stronger one, which will add their features to the stronger features. That means it will make the problem more stronger to reduce the complexity of the problem. So for that purpose, gradient boosting algorithms are used. So all these are different types of algorithms. Now, just we can understand that by using the simple word machine learning or deep learning. So behind the screen of ML or DL, now just look at how many types of different kinds of algorithms have been equipped with this concept of artificial intelligence. That is the main reason why these domains have become more stronger in their domain nowadays. Not only this one, in almost all domain, they are spreading their wings. They are penetrating into the deep roots of the domains because of the strength they are having. So the topics what we discussed so far, they have been the strengths, more strengths they have in them. So one important point, one difference, someone are asking me that, what is the main difference between Python and R programming? Which programming is suitable for which domain, like that only? So as discussed before, machine learning or deep learning both can be implemented either by Python programming language or R programming language. But Python is suitable for machine learning and its large scale applications. It doesn't mean that R is not suitable. Python works far better than this in some cases of large scale applications. But R programming is more suitable for data science programs and libraries where more statistical approaches are there. For example, just look at even in machine learning, some problems may be there. For example, Government of India calculations regarding the budget allocations or money allocations to states, districts, like that. In those cases, Python is not advisable. Why? Because they need more statistical applications. So in those cases, R programming is advisable. So Python and R programming, those are two powerful roads to this one, roads to implement machine learning. But according to the requirements of the problem, in some cases we use Python, in some cases we use R programming. So wherever there is a big need of creating large-scale neural networks and implementing and training the new neural networks, there definitely we will use Python than R programming. But in machine learning or deep learning, wherever the problems have huge calculations or statistical approaches like that, definitely we should use R programming there. So according to the requirement of the problem, we use either Python or R programming in machine learning or deep learning. So actually one important point, why Python has become that much stronger means all these are the supporting points to that one, because Python is a general purpose object-oriented programming language. So the strength of Python lies in its libraries, NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib library. All these are the more powerful libraries of Python. Keras, TensorFlow, Scikit-learn, all these are. So now one important point. So just we discussed the differences between TensorFlow and Keras libraries. So TensorFlow is an open source artificial intelligence library in Python that uses for data flow graphs. It also provides neural networks with many layers, TensorFlow. So Keras for developing and evaluating deep learning models, Keras. That means what? The strength of TensorFlow may be within the implementation of machine learning problems. But Keras spreads its wings beyond TensorFlow. It is useful not only for machine learning, but also for deep learning problems. More efficient. So Keras libraries is more efficient than TensorFlow library. So on what basis can we say? Because TensorFlow is mostly used for applying and implementing machine learning algorithms. But Keras is meant for implementing deep learning algorithms. So machine learning is by default a subset of deep learning models. That means Keras is more powerful than TensorFlow libraries. So all these are the powerful strengths of Python. So now this is the end of this session.
Sir, anybody have any questions, sir? I think it's a wonderful session, sir. Anybody have questions? This now platform is open for asking questions, and then let us see.
Hello, I am Dr. Veerbhadra.
Yes, sir.
I think
Coming to this,
before we'll go for the session, question answer
are you able
session.
to hear me?
Hello.
One minute. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Tell me, sir.
Coming to the dimensionality reduction algorithms,
Yes, sir.
our PCA, principal component analysis,
Yes, sir.
of course, you have not touched. And another thing, while talking about the linear regression,
Yes, sir.
we should not forget Pearson correlation coefficient mechanism.
Yes, yes, sir. That is correlation analysis. Yes, sir.
But that's what correlation analysis is being used in regression analysis.
Analysis. I mentioned that word in the list of that basic blocks of.
Actually, Usmania University has introduced MTech in A and then ML. So during the last 2 semesters, I took mathematical foundations of computer science. So
Great, sir. Great,
it
sir.
is having very good syllabus.
Yes, sir.
Of course, basically I am from ECE only. I belong to 1965 BE ECE.
Great, sir.
Anyhow,
Great, sir.
for the last 10 years, I am in MTech CSE only.
Yes, sir.
Anyhow, but you have not talked about the different efficiencies of your title is different efficiencies of machine learning algorithms.
Yes, sir.
You have simply listed.
Correlation analysis. Actually, correlation analysis.
Not correlation and the efficiencies of ML algorithms.
Yes, sir.
What are the
Yeah.
efficiencies of?
Because efficiency in the sense because of the algorithms and correlation coefficient regression analysis and the basic concept of the statistics, it is a conglomeration of all the strengths. That's why the efficiency lies in the conglomeration. That's why the machine learning algorithms have become more stronger. So before entering into machine learning languages, as a student or a faculty member, we are supposed to look into the neural networks, look into the basic concepts of components of statistics and theory of hypothesis, regression analysis, correlation analysis, and statistical approaches of mathematical analysis. All these things we need before looking into machine learning algorithms. That's why they have become the basic building blocks of machine learning algorithms. Why? These are the reasons why machine learning algorithms have become stronger. By become stronger in the sense, those strongness is the efficiency of the algorithms. These efficiency is used to solve almost all number of the problems, complex problems in the real existing domains. Even though some concepts which are not solved by machine learning, those will be solved by using deep learning methodologies. So the strongness, the strengths, we are calling them the efficiency of the machine learning algorithms, sir.
And another thing is, I think these people, Python people, have stolen the subroutines from MATLAB. The syntax is
Yes,
more
sir.
or less the same. And with the simple text addition, I think even sometimes I am tempted, but because in a short time, no one can prepare so many utilities and no one will be able to give freely.
Yes,
So the based on the syntax of MATLAB and Python and R,
Yes, sir.
I think these people have stolen from MATLAB.
100%, sir. That's why I used one term. Just I think you could notice that one. Python is not a bolt from the blue. It gets all the powerful concepts in different domains in it. It inculcates all the strengths of different domains into itself. Thus, it has become a own individual domain of itself like that. But really speaking, Python is not only a language domain in itself.
And one
100%
project,
what you said. Yes, correct, sir.
one MTech project was taken for face recognition based on this PCA.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That was one MTech project I took for the people. Okay,
Great,
thank you.
great, sir. Thank you. Welcome, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, anyone, sir?
Yeah, I would like to say that, this particular lecture or the exposure or the webinar,
Yes.
Sir,
Any applause
One
for-
minute, one
from-
minute, 1 minute. Let me switch off this.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, tell me, sir. Some noise
Good
is coming.
Small doubt.
లక్ష్మణరావు గారు కొంచెం మీరు ఆఫ్ చేయాలి సార్ మీది రైట్ ప్లీజ్
Sir,
లక్ష్మణరావు గారు ప్లీజ్ యూ హావ్ టు మ్యూట్ ప్లీజ్ ప్లీజ్ దివ్యా
Hello, sir.
థాంక్యూ
sir, tell me, sir.
సెట్ అయిపోయింది లక్ష్మణరావు గారు సెట్ అయిపోయింది రైట్ గుడ్
Sir, tell me, sir.
Yeah, what I wanted to say is this: the effectiveness of the today's webinar is too good as far the students are concerned.
Thank you,
They
sir.
are being, given this insight that you cannot move ahead until you are very strong in the fundamentals.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And, second aspect which you have brought it with respect to Python, its effectiveness and other things.
Yes, sir.
You say it is very clearly brought out that it is a borrowed, proven effectiveness from the all other earlier cases and other thing, which has got certain limited there. And if we want to really solve the emerging problems and other thing, we need to take the strength from all, and then that is how the Python has got developed. And the AI is taking this one, and everything is going to be, augmented artificial intelligence. Whatever has been embedded in our systems today in the form of software and hardware to do a specific job, and if we want certain things to be done better than that or improve on that or take their own decision and other thing, is try to simulate the human so-called vision in that. The AI is the only solution, and AI has got these characteristics which you brought it very clearly. I think it will go a very long way in the understanding from the basics and other things, and where really students have to put their mind to understand the higher concepts.
Yes, sir.
That is there. And this mathematical foundation, as we are trying to keep on ignoring the physics and the mathematics
Sure.
in the engineering colleges. And
100% correct.
in even earlier cases also said that most of our engineering colleges faculty teaching the mathematics and the physics, the applied part is missing.
100% correct, sir.
We always call that engineering mathematics, or we call engineering physics, which is engineering part, and the applied part is definitely meeting. Simply the background with the pure sciences will not do the technology jobs.
Yes, sir.
I think there is a time now where people from a different domain, other domains like maybe EC, maybe computer science and other thing, should also take up some of these basic courses on the physics and mathematics for the students, and try to tell them that this is why we are learning today. This is the application tomorrow. Without that, you cannot. Then the emphasis will come.
100%.
For example, a simple example I will give the Fourier series itself. When
Yes,
it is taught, they don't take it. It is only for the passing the examination. But nobody tells them that, okay, the Fourier transform, without that, you cannot do the signal analysis. Signals and system cannot be right. If that is not correct, then you cannot do the so-called system analysis, signal processing and other thing. So that if that motivation is brought to the student with respect to fundamentals, it will vary. And this one example I've given, and that's what you have touched today.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, and the faculty should the faculty members should make a note of this, that when they are trying to teach the students particular subject and other thing, they should give a background. What is back of this technology and what is the application tomorrow? Then learnability of the student will become much more. I think you have touched that point very well.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. What you notice, these points are not 200% true nowadays, 100%. Because whatever the engineering branches we study nowadays, really speaking, whether it is computer science or electronics or electrical, mechanics, what it may be, 70 to 75% of concepts are with applied mathematical concepts.
Yeah.
The remaining 20% are the flavor of the respective engineering branch only.
Yeah.
That important point, the faculty members and students are they are forgetting that one. Just they focus their interest only to get marks, 80 marks and 90 marks, like that only.
Only Lakshmi, no Saraswati.
No Saraswati. So if they are correct, sir, if
Yeah.
they are able to concentrate on the fundamentals of
Attendance-
magical concepts, everything
Attendance,
will be in their
session
hands.
marks, and the final examination marks.
Yes, sir.
Where they get.
Yes, sir. Now, not even that one. Even programming language also, 80%
Anyway.
of the programming language is based on mathematical concept, mathematical logic only. The remaining 20% is for syntax. That's enough.
Yes. No.
So
Very
actually, actually, I'll be telling the students, I don't exist as EC without statistics given by our
Yes,
great
yes,
man
yes.
Shannon, and I don't exist for the fault tolerance computing without knowing the abstract algebra, and
Yeah.
I don't exist for the cryptography without knowing the number theory.
Theory
So
of
I'll be
numbers, yes,
always
sir.
telling them, we are only applied people. The mathematics is the grandfather, physics is your uncle. You are only a kid.
100%.
No, no, mama.
Always I'll be telling them engineers. So are you BSc? I said no. I'm a 12th class fellow who joined in engineering, did BE, MA, all those things. You are only a kid. Listen to grandfather mathematics. You may not be hearing. You listen to your
100%.
uncle. If you
Correct.
don't listen, he will slap you. Only grandfather. So don't forget grandfather and your uncle. I'll be telling always to the students.
100%, sir. 100% true, sir. 100% true. Correct. What you said is 100% true, sir.
Sir, anyone, sir? Any other question, or should we wind up, sir?
You can wind up.
Yeah.
Nirmala, I think, or Narsimham sir have raised their hand. If they're not here, I think it's time for us to close the event.
Yeah, okay.
Sir, I think
Good afternoon.
yes, sir. Lakshman Rao, yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon,
Sir, I
sir.
have listened to your session, sir. Very nice session.
Thank you, sir.
Very
Thank you, sir.
you have given briefly all what are the supervised learning, unsupervised learning, all those things. Sir, I have doubt. Business applications point of view, this operations research and optimization techniques, non-linear mathematics and all plays a major role
Yes, sir.
in data science and machine learning. But I am
Yes,
working
sir.
as a professor in an engineering college. Then
Yes,
how
sir.
we can study all those things without knowing mathematics? Already one professor covered before my asking question. So how these students can understand, faculty can understand, CSC, EC people, and all branches, maybe they don't have this operation research, optimization technique courses especially, but after listening your session, so totally statistics, mathematics, operations research, optimization techniques, dynamic programming, Markov analysis, all those things are very, very important, can understand what
sir.
you have explained now. So that is my question. Sir, how we can give explanation to the students with mathematics and all?
Yes, sir.
I feel sorry for the interruption in between. I feel because these are the something which really needs lot of time for making them understand another thing. I think there should be something equivalent of summer school type of thing.
Yes,
That in the vacations and other thing, these students should give these extra optional courses where this depth of these things can be imparted to them. Because during the running of the certain syllabus and other thing, faculty do not find a time to go into depth of the basics and fundamentals.
Sir,
Sorry
what,
for it.
no problem. Welcome, sir. So
Yeah.
what advice I can give you all is that, for example, just take our mid marks or the semester end examinations of particular class of 60 students or 120 students. So, sir, are you all able to listen?
Hi, listen.
Sir,
Able to-
ఆఫ్ చేయండి సార్ లక్ష్మణ్ రావు గారు కొంచెం మ్యూట్ చేయండి సార్ మీది
Okay, sir. Okay.
thank you, sir. Sir, one simple advice is that, for example, take the mid marks of all the 60 students of particular class. Take these 60 students' marks as a data set. So, just what is the median of the data set? What is the variance of the data set? What is the first quarter of the data set? What is the second quarter of the data set? How to find standard deviation of that one? How to find regression analysis of that data set? So if you give practical examples or practicals to students, exercises like this, they will come to know how to calculate the median, how to calculate standard deviation, what is the statistical approach, how variance. They may speak variance in terminologies, but really no student knows what variance stands for what does variance stands for. Similarly, all the marks of 60 students may be on the blackboard. Now, how to create a linear regression of that 60 marks data? No software is needed. Anyone can do by using pen and paper just for a small data set of 60 input. Finding a linear regression of that marks. From that linear regression, how to make a quadratic regression. So what is the difference between linear regression and quadratic regression? Like that, if we give examples of these type of concepts to students, definitely faculty and the students will be shining in their domain. These are real practical approaches to statistical applications. One more point. The moment when we are solving mathematical problems in classrooms, especially differential equations, I think we are not criticizing anyone. No faculty follows the basic foundations or fundamentals.
Yeah.
First, we should tell the students what is the difference between an equation and a differential equation and a partial differential equation. In all these three terminologies, equation is same. For equation means what? Only one output. At any time, only one output will come out. That is linear equation or equation. Differential equation means it may have infinite number of outputs according to the value of the constant C.
Yeah.
As long as a independent variable is based on only one independent variable, those we use the tool of differential equation. If any dependent variable is based on more than two independent variables, their partial differentiation occurs. In this way, if we teach students, definitely they will become stronger in their domains. They need no longer to be on this one. Definitely they will be entering into software companies, definitely nowadays.
Yeah.
Because whether it is data science or artificial intelligence or deep learning or machine learning, whatever it may be, everything is based on highly mathematical statistical concepts only. Analysis is very much important. As long as students and faculty members give importance to only answer output to the problem, we will never shine out.
Yeah.
Leave the answer. Working methodology step by step. Why you should go for this step? Why you should go for this step? If we don't go for this step, what will happen? That is more important. Especially speaking nowadays, actually, I do not say the names of the companies. I have become an IT consultant for 2 software companies. But there, what is happening, most of the students are coming from autonomous colleges with a 98 to 97% or like that only, more CGPA. But the moment we ask any practical code for them, no student is able to explain the purpose of each and every syntax of even the smallest problem. They were habituated, just they are by hearting 3 or 4 concepts, they are coming to the placement session.
Yeah.
That is the weakness, because the weakness has been from the first year BTech onwards. It has been initiated in the first BTech onwards. So in the first BTech, if a mathematics faculty and physics faculty, if they take the entire handle in their own hands to make students in a particular track, definitely they will be in the particular track. If that management people should also cooperate us, otherwise you can do nothing.
Ravan Kumar sir.
Thanks
I think you're
IIT for providing a valuable session, and thanks speaker Mr. Subramaniam Garu sir. It was very nice to listen his information. My name is Shravan sir. I work in Swami Vivekananda Institute of Technology as in CSE department sir.
Where sir?
Sir, my name is Shravan Kumar from CSE department of SVIT sir. It was nice session sir. You were thanks IIT Hyderabad for hosting.
Shravan Kumar Swami. How are you? Right.
It was informative session sir, and thanking IIT for hosting this session. Thanking all dignitaries.
Thank you. Welcome, Swami. Thank you.
Sir, thank you very much, sir. It's a really wonderful session, sir. I think we have gone through all the rudimentaries, sir. We have actually clarified a lot of doubts relating to what is machine learning. Even I am of the concept that machine learning and deep learning are the what you call the definitions, derivatives of even I have gone through that my basics today, sir. And I also have a doubt on R programming and Python. You have clarified even those doubts. I think probably we have gone through the rudimentary, sir. I think the opportunity for IIT is much wider, sir, because the scope of the subject that you have got, I think we can also go for, if you have time and if students could able to be more participative, I think we can go for what you call the workshops, or 1-day workshop or 2-day workshop we plan, sir.
Sure,
Once
sir.
the colleges comes into the mainstream and college students are now physical appearance at colleges. And I think I should thank all the various participants who are part of it. Harjinder Singh always is very active. and also interactive also, not only active but also interactive. Murli sir, we also Tata Sudhakar sir, Virpata Rao garu today is very active and he has really defined what is physics and what is mathematics from the general standpoint. I think I totally agree with him, sir. We also have Anupam Tiwari sir is also active and interactive. Then we have Venkatesh Sharma sir. First time I've seen him, sir. I think we also ask him to be active with the IIT Hyderabad session, sir. Dr. S.V. Suryanarayana sir for women, he has joined part of it. Pradeep Kumar sir also from Trivandrum. He is basically from Vikram Sarabhai Space Center, sir. And we have other participants, Christopher John, Ranganathan sir, Narsimachari, Narsimam from NFC, Sairam Chandana sir, Kishan Rao, Murthy Sharma, Saidru from MGIT. They're all part of it, sir. I think we have some very good interactive session today, sir. I think I should thank DVS Subramanian Garu. He is also, I know him for a very long time, and we also need you to be part of IET regularly, sir. And we help you in having your fellow, sir. I think we could not able to contact you after that.
Sure, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Go ahead, sir, and file your paper for fellow, sir. We'll help you, sir. We'll ensure that you get your fellow at the earliest, sir. And I thank all the participants. We don't have any session next week because we have a physical event at Hyderabad, sir. We are going to have what you call a flag hoisting, and then we some planting some saplings at Hyderabad IET premises, and then we're going to honor all the what you call the IET webinar speakers. And it's not going to happen in one day, sir, but whoever would be part of that, we'll felicitate. Again, we'll go back and have the one more felicitation session on October 11th, sir. That is the ISF day. We also request all the IET student forum colleges to come forward and participate in that. We want to felicitate the best student forum, sir. So please come up with whatever the activities that you have done, and they also increase those who have the membership strength as on July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021. We'll identify the best student forum center, and we would like to felicitate that student forum center, sir. It's there in IIT, but for last 6 years we couldn't able to do, but we want to revive that. So we would expect more participants. Student means the colleges student forum should be part of that, sir. October 11th. So again, we'll probably catch up. Even 23rd, I think we'll have. We would like to be silent on 23rd, sir, these 2 weeks, because 23rd is happened to be Raksha Bandhan. I think families.
22nd, sir. 22nd, that is.
22nd. So, oh yeah, 22nd. So probably we would not be having any session on 22nd also. So again, we'll catch you the 4th week of.
23rd, we have endowment lecture, CVS Rao endowment lecture.
Sir?
23rd, we are planning CVS Rao.
CVS lecture. So that's not on Sunday, sir. It will be on Monday, sir. So have a wonderful time, 2 weeks to come, sir. Again, we'll catch up on the endowment lecture on 23rd, sir. Thank you all, and a special thanks to Subramanian Garu for having a wonderful lecture, sir.
Subramanian Garu, it is a personal invitation, sir. Please be there on 15th August, sir, at IIT premises.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, we'll also plan workshops, sir. 1 or 2 workshops or seminars, sir. Based on your, because it's only rudimentaries, I think we need to extend or enlarge your subject scope or the knowledge that you have to the students, sir. Once students
100%, sir.
In colleges. Thank you, sir.
I try my best to help you all. Please inform me at least 10 days in advance, sir.
We'll do that, sir. We'll do that, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, one and all, and have a wonderful weekend and be a good week to come, sir. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please, all of you fill the feedback link, whatever provided, to get the e-certificate, sir. Please.
Stop sharing.